Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Windcharger. You can see them there in front of the box. We'll go ahead and put them offside real quick and take a look at the box. And yep, it is a Studio Series box. It says Transformers with the blue band Studio Series thing right there. You got Transformers the movie right there. It's Windcharger and Hasbro. Up here you have, of course, 12 steps to transform. And hey, look, there's Windcharger in his robot mode and his vehicle mode. And then, of course, the window. And, of course, the top here you have Transformers movie Windcharger and Takara Tomy. There's Windcharger in his robot mode right there. And there's an extension of the Windcharger right there. And hey, look, the rooms of Autobot City and Deluxe Class right there. On the bottom here, you have what's included in some manufacturing details, and on the back, you have some copyrights, warnings, some product shots, and Windcharger uses magnetic powers to fight the Decepticons. And hey, look, a generic, just the poster right there thing for the picture, because, well, the one and only time that Windcharger showed up in the movie, he was, kind of corpsey. Top of that, of course, are instructions, are included in the box as well, and it's pretty straightforward how he transforms. It's actually not, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. What to do, sometimes actually making it happen is a little annoying because there's some parts that are a little weird, but anyway, Windcharger. The final 84 mini bot to get an update in the deluxe class finally. Getting it close right here. You can see he's got his little box head. He's got a bit of certain thing. Mine is also a little bit for the paint blemish right there on his cheek. He's got basically his red arms and stuff. He's got the kind of very bluish grayish body right there with the Autobot symbol right there, and of course you got the little vent right there, and then you got some gray legs and his rear window toes right there. He's got a bit of backpack, I guess, with you can see some windshield bits right there, and of course actually the backpack, if anything, is a leg pack because he's got some big old chunky legs of how he transforms. It's clever to a degree, but it's kind of, it's definitely a bit of a compromise there. But generally he's actually pretty cool looking, dude. For the most part, there's a couple things like the box I had to rotate these around because they're facing forward, which that's one thing you can do if you want to make them more G1-y. You can put those, or G1 toyish. You can put those in front like this, and then you can also untap these and bring these around like this. You can actually bring the wheels out a bit, but unfortunately, when you do so, this is not going to really tab anywhere anymore. But you can. This won't really tab into the back of the leg anymore if you bring the wheels up and out, but you can, do this, and hey, look, now he looks a lot more toy-like, which is kind of cool. If you want to do that, that's one thing I just want to bring up real quick. Bring up back in. Posability though, it's kind of interesting. There's some very interesting things they made happen just to make it happen. Just putting these back real quick, but posability wise, his head can swivel left and right. There's just a swivel right there. It's like, it's just a swivel, going left and right. However, they did a cool thing, which is there's a lever back here. And the lever, if you push it up, the lever up, it pushes his head face down. And if you push it down, it pushes his face up, which is kind of cool. So it's a way to get around that a little bit, which is pretty neat. Shoulders here, they're on ball joints. You have outward about that far, and then you got rotation all the way around. You do have a bicep swivel right there, right above the elbow. You do have an elbow bend about 90 degrees. The wrists theoretically can swivel, at least they would be able to, except the problem is they don't seem to want to. They kind of do. You can see they can swivel, but it's really difficult to make swivel, but you can make them swivel because there is a ball joint there. But they do swivel. They're just a pain in the butt to make swivel. He does have a waist joint, which is nice, unhindered right there. His hips can go forward really far like that, and really back really far and outward. There's also kind of a hinge right there as well. There's a little hinge right there. The ball joints attached, although the problem is then he's now banging into his it's a transformation joint, but you can't use it for articulation. The only problem is now the shoulder's smacking into his head. But and down here at the hip, you do have pretty much the full splits right there, and then you have thigh swivel right there, and the knee bend, which is kind of stiff, but it goes about 90 degree-ish, almost 90 degrees. It's kind of weird because there's also kind of a bend right here, so you kind of have, the only thing is that, pushing this back will kind of untab this, but then you kind of more or less forces a 90 degree bend, so kind of weird how that works. And down here, the ankles are also weird because they're really high up. They're right below the knee, so his ankles look a little weird. And I guess that's technically, that's either, so you can either see that as either the ankle, you can either see this as an ankle forward back or a knee forward back because of how weirdly positioned it has to be just for the sake of the sculpt. But they did manage to give him ankle articulation, which is nice. They could have actually just sacrificed that. But yeah, as for accessories, it of course comes with a little pistol. You can see that right there. You can peg into his hand. You can peg into his hand. Then peg into his hand. Like so. And there you go. You can hold that, no problem. That's for blast effect compatibility. Yeah, kind of. That stretches over the end of the barrel a little bit, but I guess it's kind of there. Yeah, as for storage, if you want, you can store this back here. There's the little Tamashii stage port right there. You can just peg that in right there, and there you go. Now it's stored away. And of course, he has one other accessory, which is right here. Is I guess it's supposed to represent his magnetic powers, which he very rarely uses. But you got magnetic powers. You got the little 2 tabs. This big thick tab right here goes into this thing right here, I guess, because he kind of does that in the show sometimes. He did that a couple times in the show, although it never was quite consistent what it looked like. But you have that. I guess it's hard translucent plastic. You don't have to worry about that melting plastic or paint or anything. Looks pretty decent, but it's kind of weird. And yeah, if you want to store that, you can use this thinner tab and plug it in right here, like that, and it'll just store away on this back. And there you go. So there's that. Not too bad for that. So again, so as a whole, he's not too bad, although sometimes it's difficult to get his feet set in such a way he's not wobbling a little bit on his ankles, or his feet. But yeah, overall, he's not a bad looking robot. They did a pretty good job of trying to take a kind of odd cartoon design and make it work in a toy and still have all the articulation and maintain the sculpt. Granted, there is some compromises like weirdly high ankles, but it works. But yeah, as for measurements in this mode, his height is 4.5 inches or 11.4 centimeters. He's kind of short, which makes sense. He's a mini bot. And his weight is 2.2 ounces or 64 grams. He's not exactly a big guy, but that's kind of makes sense considering, he's a mini bot. But yeah, as for some comparison stuff, I'm going to have to raise this up a bit because, yeah, here's a Studio Series 86 Optimus. Just to give you an idea there of height. So there's that. Here's someone who hasn't really been around in a while. Here's Power of the Primes Windcharger. Remember him? He had more toy colors, but yeah. The old core class or whatever. Or I guess Legends. Yeah, at the time it was still Legends. Yeah, it was still Legends at the time. Yeah, I got that. And because we can finally do it, yep, there they are, the entire 84 mini bot lineup, updated in deluxe class, including Bumper, who from the 4-pack, who's just basically just a repaint of Bumblebee with a new head. A little disappointing that, but yeah, there's the 84 mini bots. Pretty cool that we finally got them all in a new thing. Although Birdman Zones, we're getting another new cliff jumper supposedly. So, the cycle continues, right? So there you go. So yeah, that's Windcharger. I don't know if I actually accidentally call him Cliff Jumper. I do that a lot. I could keep calling Windcharger Cliff Jumper. I do that a lot. But regardless, yeah, that's his robot mode. Pretty good looking and everything. Pretty good, pretty posable. And everything, actually some clever ideas to get around some potential issues. But anyway, it's time to get him transformed into vehicle mode. So first of all, take the accessories off and put them off the side for now. Now, first thing you do is rotate the shoulders, wheels around 180 degrees so that they're facing this way. Then back here, you want to untab the windshield. Be mindful of this. The first few times I did this was a little stiff because apparently, I don't know, some sort of paint like fusing or something. Yeah, so be mindful of that. Yeah, get it out like this. So sitting like this, like that, and then go ahead and right here, take the fists and fold them back right here like that and like that, and then use these hinges right here to collapse the arms in. And you see these tabs right here will go into little slots right there. So yeah, they'll go underneath that and just just tab that in. Then you go ahead and bring this the rest of the way down and just tab the windshield and whatnot into the back of the arms like that. And of course you straighten out the legs right here. And then you untab these bits right here. Untab these and unfurl them completely. Unfurl them completely like that. Bring out the wheels like this. And you go ahead and tab and peg the two halves together like that. Just do that. And then right here at this hinge, you go ahead and bring it over top of, well, everything else. Just bring it over top. Right here, everything will just kind of tab in. You can see there's tabs right here and little bits right there, little tabs right there, and there's slots right here for tabs right there. And yeah, just get that all brought over and tabbed in. Try to make sure it stays all together like that. Just bring it all tabbed in, all in like that. And with that, and don't worry, yeah, this is supposed to be like this. Is supposed to be a little ridge right there. Yeah. So once you get it all tabbed in, there you go. Yeah. Again, it's supposed to look like that. There is Windcharger. In his vehicle mode. Yeah, Windcharger turns into a very muscle car looking guy because that's what the original was. Kind of a, what was it? Original, I believe, was actually supposed to be a Pontiac Firebird, but they kind of really did a lot of took some liberties with the cartoon, to say the least. So you get this kind of sort of thing, which it still looks very muscle car-y, but yeah, you know, something's, you know, quite a bit different. You got this nice bit of silver right there for the front grille and some headlights and everything. Nice translucent blue windows for all around, except for this, which is the louvers right there. A nice little rigid thing. You got, well, not really taillights back there. You got the weird, you know, thing with the silver rims right there. And of course, it's the ridiculous ride height and everything with all that stuff in it. But it rolls really nicely because of that ride height. I mean, geez, like that's ridiculously high ride height and everything. But and of course, we got the Autobot symbol right there and everything. But yeah, generally looks really good, and yeah, it rolls really nicely, and it's a good little car. As for accessory storage, well, down here you can see these little tabs right here on the inside of the rear wheels, and there's little slots right here on the inside of the gun. And for that, you just basically you take the make sure pegs facing upward into the thing, and just tab that into either side of the thing, and either side of it, and there's, yeah, there you go. There's weapon storage. Of course, you can kind of just see it right there. I almost think you can. Wish you could. Actually, I wonder. Can you do it this way? No, unfortunately. I was wondering about that, but yeah, it looks like you can't do it this way, which is, yeah. Only you could do it this way, because then it could look like a little exhaust pipe. So that's a little unfortunate that that's not the case, but. No, it is what it is. And as for this thing, well, the only way you can store is right here. You can see a little slot right here in the grill, and that little slot right here, and this plug that in like that, and there you go. Kind of weird looking, because yeah, I thought maybe you could do it this way, but no, you can't. There's no way to do it like this. It doesn't. Yeah, the clearance isn't there, so it has to be like this, which just kind of looks weird. So yeah, I guess, yeah, you can have the magnetic thing right the field, I guess, whatever on the front of his thing is car mode, but I'd prefer not to. So there's that. But yeah, generally it's a really good little car. It's a fun little car. It's a fun simple transformation. That's the thing is, despite the fact it's deluxe, you've noticed there's not really any hollow bits, and that's probably, yeah, it's pretty much it is no hollow bits, so you know they're able to get away with that. No hollow bits because he's a bit on the smaller side, but yeah, he's just, you know, got a fairly fun but simple transformation. Unfortunately, yeah, by the other thing was like, can you rotate the head around to? No, you can't. The head has to be facing like this. So unfortunately, there's just no way to like hide that face away. So you're always going to see the head on the bottom of the car because you can't rotate. I tried. You can't rotate. There's not enough clearance for the face underneath the hood. So there's that. And yeah, as for measurements in this mode, the car's length is 3 3/4 inches or 9.5 centimeters. So yeah, it's not particularly, it's not a particularly big car, obviously. No. As for some comparisons, of course, here is the Studio Series 86 Optimus right there, which, you know, seems more or less correct, I guess, for the cartoon. Previous Power of the Primes version, which also very stylized, kind of almost Firebird-ish car. Also has a kind of weirdly high ride height, but yeah, there's that. And again, there are the 84 mini bots as a whole. All the mini bots from 84, including, again, Bumper, which is, again, is just a repaint of Bumblebee in this case, and on its own separate mold. The tire got weird. So, yep, there they are. All the car modes. Yeah, I got them. And again, we might be getting a new Cliff Jumper pretty soon, so we'll see about that. But yeah. You can finally get a complete set of deluxe class mini bots for 84 anyway. 85 we're still working on it, and 86. So that is Windcharger. Pretty solid little deluxe. Again, emphasis on little. He is a mini bot. That's the whole thing. You know, some people are going to get grumble about that, but it's a pretty solid one. He's got, you know, a couple accessories. The magnet thing is kind of all right. Again, it's hard plastic, so you don't have to worry about any sort of paint or plastic melting kind of thing. You can kind of sort of do kind of a classic toy look a bit if you want. But yeah, and then actually, again, he's actually got quite a bit of posability considering his sculpting and everything. They actually were able to work around some of the issues, you know, regarding his design as to that might hamper his posability. They're able to work around that pretty well and make a really good looking robot that still is posable and everything. Granted, yes, there are some, it's a little sketchy sometimes, particularly the ankles kind of seem a little sketchy because of how high they are, but it still works. And it's a fun little, very quick but fun transformation. It's got a pretty good looking car mode that looks very G1-ish. It's just a fun toy overall, and it's a high, again, I highly recommend picking this guy up. Unless for whatever reason you just do not like Windcharger or whatever, or you're totally happy with your Power of the Primes version, because that's still a pretty decent toy in its own right. But yeah, I recommend picking this guy up. He's still good overall, and it's just a good solid thing. It's just a good solid toy, and I really like it overall, and it's just plain fun. It's a fun little toy. It's also fun just again, you know, do with him like that. So that's it for this review. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my social media down in the description and at the end of the video. Check out my Ko-Fi and my Patreon. I shall see you next time with another video review.